You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again. And man, this has been a busy week, but guess what? We're going to end this week with another exclusive interview. We're going to be going to New York City, man. We're going to be talking to music artist Years Nomad, and we're going to talk about his vintage style and his dope vibe, is what I want to call it. So if you are into that indie rock and that groovy type sound, just stay tuned because we're going to talk to Nouhi himself. I just want to welcome him to the show and say, how you doing, man?
Hey, Shamaya. Thank you for having me. I'm good. How are you?
Doing good, man. So before we talk about your music, because I know last week you dropped Years Nomad music video on YouTube and Love Is. So before we talk about your music real quick, let's learn a little bit about you. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
So my name is Zachary Tiergan, and my stage name is Years Nomad. And I'm born and raised in Manhattan, New York. I grew up playing violin at the age of 3. I then dropped the violin at the age of 8 for piano, and then found my true calling in voice, and went to LaGuardia High School of Music, Art, and Performing Arts, and majored in classical voice, and then went to undergrad for classical voice and songwriting.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So coming from New York, man, New York is a special place. What were some of your early influences as far as music? Because I know you mentioned violin, but what were some of the styles that got you like, man, this is something I can do?
You know, the funny thing is, when I grew up listening to what my parents played for me, and a good amount of that was like, you know, the Beatles, Queen, some classic rock, classical music from all different, you know, eras. Well, I can't say classical because classical is one era, but, you know, classical music from like Mozart ranging to Handel and then some Baroque. And I'm gonna mix up all the eras and the time frames when it comes to old composers, but please bear with me. I swear I took like music history back in undergrad. And, you know, I didn't really turn the radio on until I was going to summer camp and it would play in the van. And I didn't start listening regularly until high school. And that's when I started discovering, you know, the pop sound. But because of my classical training, when it came to songwriting, I had a kind of a purist aspect to it, where I wanted it to be only things that I could play live. And that's how the album started. But I did, you know, step away a little bit and give room for the music to grow as it wanted to. But my background in music and the influences that I have to stem from classic rock and some classical music, as well as some Persian rock.
And speaking of the album, not too long ago, you released it. And people, when they hear Years Nomad, for those who haven't heard your music yet, what can they expect to hear when they hear your songs?
When you listen to Years Nomad, which is my self-titled LP, you will get to know me as a person and as a human being. But you'll also get to hear the influence, right? Number 4, the 4th song on the album, is very, very, very Vampire Weekend influenced. And then you have And Love Is, which is, I think, the 6th, which has a little bit more of a Mike Posner influence as far as, you know, the progression goes, with a bit of I'm not sure how exactly I would classify that, but, you know, there's 2 verses and then there's a hook that repeats twice at the end, kind of like what Vampire Weekend did for MC9 and some Beatles songs. And then if you listen to Waiting, which is the 2nd track off the album, the intro guitar lick is very reminiscent of Coldplay's Clocks. And ironically enough, when I was writing the song, I had never really listened to Coldplay. The only song I knew was Viva La Vida.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, with all those influences, I was checking out the music video. You have this almost like old soul with your music, because you mentioned classics and stuff. When you look at today's music and you have your own sound, what keeps you different from the rest of the people that we hear on radio?
I like to think that 2 things keep me separate from what you hear on the radio. The first one being my voice. I've been told that my voice is, distinct, it's unique, the way it's trained and the color that it has, perhaps be it of my, my genetics and my Iranian heritage, is not typical of what you'll hear on day-to-day radio or day-to-day music. And the second thing is the lack of, not the lack, but the minimality, if that's even a word, of the production. I keep everything intimate to give it kind of, a homemade indie feel. And in a lot of the records, you're going to have just guitar, 2 guitars, voice, bass, and drums. Maybe I'll pepper in a keyboard here and there, but it's typically going to be very subtle. And I don't like overdoing production because I want to keep that raw, authentic sound. Nowadays, you listen to a lot of rock, it'll be overproduced. And this is all to taste again, right? Because who am I if not just another listener describing what I hear? But sometimes you have, rock songs mixed with pads, or you have a mix that's a little more professionally produced with a lot of reverb, a lot of different layers, a lot of different panning and automation. I tried to keep mine minimal. And as I produced the album, I started, having a little more fun with it. But I think, number 4 and Hiding Home are some of the least produced as far as, panning and automation go. But there's some vocal doublings in them, but very scarce and only to add with as needed. Because I didn't want to use harmonies because, like I said earlier, I wouldn't be able to harmonize with myself live. Although nowadays, I'm playing with people who can sing harmonies, and we're going to see if that works out or not. But I do like to keep a very intimate and very raw kind of approach to mixes.
And you mentioned number 4, that song, you did a music video as well. I think about a month ago, you put that on your YouTube as well. When it comes to being that creative artist, making that art, with you having new music videos dropping and you have it illustrating the song, what is that process like from you have a song that's finished and then all of a sudden you're planning for the visuals, you're planning for the scenes and stuff? How deep are you in the process with the music video, or do you just hand it off to the director?
So number 4, I was very, very involved with that one because the song's about, my childhood home and growing up. I would spend my summers in South Jersey, and that's where we filmed the music video. I wanted it to be, an homage to my youth and a way to kind of get closure for not having that be part of my life. We sold the home in 2011, 2012, and I haven't been able to have that same kind of neighborhood feel. Even though I love the city, I do miss having the getaway, right? But when it came to And Love Is, I had a premise, and then I handed it off to a director, and she brainstormed, and she ran it by me. And then I was able to get the final say. But number 4 was significantly more hands-on. And frankly, once I'd written that song in 2016, 2017, I knew that I would want a music video, and I would want it shot, if not exactly, very similar to what it is now.
And with the process of making the new projects, we all been talking about the effects of, the pandemic and COVID. It messed up a lot of plans, but a lot of artists I've been talking to said they doubled down. They got in the studio, doing things a little differently. Some people had other people doing the parts and sending them in. For you, as a music professional, what was it like when COVID happened and things started shut down? How did you adapt to still be able to have that motivation to still create music?
Well, I'm not going to lie. It was a little disheartening at first, because I was with the Bronx Opera, and with the pandemic, they took a hiatus. But like you said, I doubled down. I threw everything I had into producing the album. I wanted to get it out on my birthday on March 19th, and I did. I finished the mixes. I think I wrote 1 or 2 more songs throughout the pandemic, or at least was able to finish mixes and put them to a place where they'd be released on the album. And I started making a plan. I started mapping out my releases, my schedule, my itinerary, what I'm going to shoot, when I'm going to shoot it, how I'm going to do it. Given everything hits roadblocks, nothing is perfect, nothing ever is exactly the way you plan it to be. We've hit some of the milestones, like the album releasing in March, the music video for number 4 in May, and Love is in April. I think what we planned is an album of an EP of remixes for Angize, the Persian song, in mid to late July, and then maybe some more music videos. But the pandemic gave me a lot of time to just sit down, get to know myself better without other folks besides my family, being part of my life. And then doubling down on my experience as a musician and how I want to pursue with my future, how I want to pursue a career, and how I'm going to carve a niche for myself in this industry.
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to Years Nomad and about the story and the music career right here, exclusive. So when you are being that creative artist trying to find a new inspiration to write that new song and come out with that new classic, what is that process like? What do you do to prep yourself to be inspired, right? To create that new, fresh sound?
It's not easy, man. I'm not the strongest lyricist, not at all. I can write you a tune, I can give you melody, I can harmonize something. But, you know, growing up, I didn't really care for my English classes. I was always, you know, math and music theory. So the lyrics are my forte, but I just draw from my life, right? This album is kind of a coming of age album. It tracks my career through college while also having some songs about, you know, the house in South Jersey and high school and traveling and just what you expect from a kid who's coming to terms with the world. And as far as finding inspirations now, you know, I typically, you know, we all run to heartbreak, we run to tragedies, but sometimes we run to like success and optimism. Although a lot of music that you can relate to and that you hear is it's a love song or it's a sad song, because those are the two most overwhelming emotions. I at least in my experience, as part of being a human. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense. And
yeah,
it's nothing more New York than hearing signs, man.
I know, right?
I know exactly what that is. Because I remember when I was telling you before we got started the interview, when I went to New York, I've been there twice. Yeah. I'll never forget how many times I heard the sirens go off.
Dude, I'm trying to say something meaningful, and then the sirens pull up, and I'm just like, okay.
It actually was going with what you say. It was actually going with what you're saying, man. But yeah, all jokes aside, I mean, I love it. For people listening, it makes you feel like you're in a movie now. But when you are making that mindset, right, of this is where I am, but this is where I want to be in the future. You talked about, I like how you talked about how you very strategic with the music videos and how you want them to look, and the prepping, the planning, and networking, and talking to the director and having some input and letting them, you know, do what their, you know, expertise are. How did you learn how to do all that? Because those who are listening right now, let's say maybe they're a newer artist and they don't know anything about that. How did you learn how to be able to have that skill set where you allow people to do their expertise, but still do this collaboration in a professional way?
It's not easy. Nothing about this is easy. I'm a perfectionist, so I was sitting in mixes for hours. I think number 4 has like 200 plus hours in that mix. Wow. When it came to the music video for number 4, I made sure I was seeing everything. Right, I saw the storyboard, I saw the shot list, I helped organize the call sheets. I was sitting in on every editing session, and I actually, like, at first the director and the editor, they would, you know, finish an edit, they would send it to me. But by the 3rd revision, I was like, you know what, I'm going to sit in on this, and we're going to do this together so you can crank it out the way I want it to be. And it's not easy letting, you know, your baby go, but it takes some sort of acceptance and humility to know that it's not going to be perfect. And Love Is was easier, right? Because it's a one shot. And that means we don't have any cuts, we don't have any edits. We have to look through 5 takes, 2 of which were good, and 1 of which had a stronger start than the other, which is why we chose that one. And there's no such thing as perfection. That's one of the things that has been really hard for me to come around, because, you know, when you're producing something and when you start working on something, you have this vision of what it can be. But once you're finishing it and you start noticing all the flaws and all of its shortcomings, at least that's me. And I get in my head a little, but you have to surrender yourself to finishing the project. Because if you didn't, you could keep going and you'd miss all deadlines. And if you haven't set any deadlines, you could sit on this for too long, to a point that if you're trying to find a new niche, find a new genre or a new sound, somebody else will have filled that spot by now.
That's real good, because projects, it's not just the music. Now we're living in the world. It's everything. They want to hear you in the concert. They want to hear you on YouTube vlogs. I mean, they want everything. The listeners, the fans, they want the whole experience. How do you, I mean, I know it's being organized, but how do you keep yourself from not going underwater? And I know you're going to say it's not easy, but how do you keep yourself above water even when things, maybe they're not always going as smooth as possible? How do you keep yourself from not getting too frustrated where you just wave a white flag?
You know, there are a lot of things I could say. And the one time that I think I was the most frustrated recently was on set for And Love Is. Thursday, I go to get my suit jacket from the tailor. The sleeves aren't even. I send it back. I pick it up Friday. It's fixed. Friday, I get a call saying, we don't have the wireless monitors that we need to have for the shoot. I call that. I think I get that sorted. And then I get a call saying we need a Steadicam. And, you know, I'm freaking out. I get everything sorted. We get the Steadicam. I get the monitor sorted. I go on set. The Steadicam doesn't work. And the wireless monitors never got to the FedEx location in Brooklyn. They were in Long Island City. It was closed. We had to find something else last minute. We ended up being 6-7 hours late in the shoot. And I was freaking out because I'm producing it. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there's just knowing that everything will come together, especially in, you know, film and production, but also realizing that it's not the end of the world. I might be, you know, the budget that I spent might have to be doubled. I might suffer financially, but I can recover from this, right? No one's dying. No one's getting severely injured. This is not a life-changing event. During the pandemic, you know, I'm lucky to have a job so I can make the money back, but I'm also lucky to be able to live with my parents and have them throw me lifelines as needed. And I know some people don't, which is why it's easier for me to say that there are worse things that can happen to you. But the other thing that's keeping me going is passion. You know, there are a lot of times where I could have just stopped. In high school, my freshman year of high school, I could barely sing. In middle school, I was made fun of because I had no sense of intonation, no sense of pitch, and no technique. But people would gossip about me in high school, saying I couldn't sing in choir, but, you know, I just worked at it. 3-4 years, I didn't give up because I knew what I wanted to do was sing, be it classically, in a band, in any setting. I wanted to be able to use my voice. And I just kept going.
And once again, listen to I Am Refocused Radio, talking to Years Nomad, and about the music career and also the life story of him. When people are trying to make things happen in life, I mean, we know everyone is always trying to find what is the secret sauce to be this and be that. You know, in the music world nowadays, it's like, how do I make my stuff go viral? You know, how do I get on that Spotify playlist? Itch. How do you keep yourself focused on the creative process versus being the rat race, trying to be famous and trying to be, you know, just, you know, perfectly a celebrity or whatever? How you keep yourself focused on priorities?
I schedule it, or so to say. You know, when I'm writing, when I'm in the creative mindset, I'm writing out songs. I'm going to focus on finishing the project. But once that project is released, I'm going to switch 100% to marketing it. And then after about a week, so what I did for number 4 was we filmed it, we produced it. Once it was edited, then I went to marketing. We released it for 2 weeks. I did straight promo marketing only. And then I switched into production because I was doing And Love Is. And then 3-4 days a week, I'll focus on the creative aspect. And then 3 days a week, 3-4 days a week, depending on my earlier schedule, I'll focus on the marketing or something else. And one of the most important things is to have a team, is to be able to have people you can work with, people you can trust, who want to see you succeed because they like your work and not because they want something from you. And that's really rare, because as you grow up, everybody you meet and everyone you get to know wants something from you. It becomes a transactional relationship. But I'm lucky to have friends in middle school who work with me because they like the music and they want to see it succeed. And I have a friend who helped me write lyrics, and he's embarrassed by the lyrics he wrote. But he still promotes the music and he still tells his friends about it because he wants to see us, you know, he wants to see us climb. And the key is to not burn out, and it's to organize things, and it's not to ever fixate on one, but always be able to step back and look at the big picture.
I like what you said about putting 100% of your focus on one thing at a time, because for the newbies out there who are trying to get into the music scene, it's so easy to get caught up where you're trying to do everything all at once. You know, you're trying to release it in a hurry, you're trying to market in a hurry, and everything's basically in a hurry. Nothing is really delved into a strategic plan as far as like baby steps. You get the right mindset, you get the right projects, get the right team, and then you start moving. A lot of times they want to go too quick, too fast. And based on your experience, why is it so important to not try to rush your projects?
People love to say diamonds are made under pressure, but you're not going to make a hit single like that. You need to take at least 2 months before you release the mix just to market it. Let your friends know, post some teasers, try to have some link, get a pre-save campaign going. And when I say focus 100%, but don't fixate, like I said, focus 100% on the marketing aspect, but don't fixate on the pre-save campaign.
Yeah.
Because if you fixate on just that campaign, you're going to lose whatever else you have. A Bandcamp pre-order, you're going to lose that. You're going to lose family and friends. You're going to lose, well, not lose, but you're going to be weaker on that arm of the marketing experience or the marketing grind, however you want to word it. When you start producing a song, don't give yourself a deadline to release it until you're happy with the final product.
That's a good one.
And give yourself at least 2 months. You want to have it in the distributors within at least a month before release, so you can have it, eligible for a Spotify editorial playlist. But once that's released, you want to market that for as long as you can. But after 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to want to focus on, if you have other songs, marketing the upcoming songs or producing more music. You want to be able to go back and forth. Say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to do marketing for my song. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm going to sit in the studio. I'm going to call up my friends. We're going to write something new and start producing it. You have to be able to multi-manage, but you have to schedule times where you only focus on the overarching image of marketing and the overarching image of producing. Not just writing a melody, not just the chord progression, not just EQing that one snare so it sounds perfect, because you have to listen to it 3 days later and still like it.
And those listening right now, they're like, man, Nouhi, but if I release my song and I don't get instant fame, what am I supposed to do? Because, like I said, so many people, they want that microwave success sometimes. Why is it so important to, like you say earlier in the interview, to have that passion first versus wanting that instant fame?
It's cliche, man. You're going to get knocked down 7, 8 times. You got to get up 9. The thing is, music is such a saturated industry. It's everyone's competing for it. And the people who have the most financial resources are the ones who are going to have an easier time making it, because they can get ads, they can get good marketing, and they can, even now, they can still pay to play on the radios, which is still a scandal. But that's why you have some superstars come out of nowhere, because they were able to get a record deal at a young age. They might have been ex-Disney. They might have had a friend in a high place. And not to say there are musicians who make it out with merit, because you can be a phenomenal musician, but a lot of it is luck.
Yeah.
If you're sitting at home producing a song and releasing it on Spotify and expecting it to go big overnight, you either have to have millions to market it, or you have to get very, very, very lucky, or just be able to hustle. But hustling is significantly harder than just being able to have resources. However, if you're producing a song, you finish the song, and you're finding ways to perform in local venues and build some sort of an audience, that's going to give you a little bit of an edge when you release the song, or when you've already released a song and are marketing it, because they're going to want to support you. If they like it, you can, take a CD. I know no one listens to CDs, but they'll still buy and support. Get a T-shirt. And apparently all the craze now, print a vinyl. They're not worth it for a long run production, but get a couple short terms, autograph them, hike up the price a little, make a profit. And it's also marketing, because if your vinyl cover is cool, people are going to want to look at it, put it up on the wall, put it up on their shelf. somebody else to go to their house and be like, oh, that's a really cool cover. Can I listen to it? And if they like it, you have a fan right there.
Yeah, what I'm hearing right now, man, is create with a purpose at the end of the day. Because it's like, if you're just competing with X, Y, and Z, right? So-and-so is going to release in the summer. Well, I got to release in the summer. I got to. No. Like, you listen to this right now, listen to what Nouhi saying. Years Nomad, he's right on point. If you're going to do it with a strategy. Don't just, like, it's okay to have passion for what you do. But that can be to anybody's career, man. It don't have to be music. It could be anything, your day job, your small business. Do it with the purpose behind it, something that drives you, whether win or lose, right? My mind said, I'm going to put my fingerprint on this product, and it's going to be me. When people see it, they know it's me. What do you say to that, man?
I like that. And release with a purpose, too, right? If you're producing a single, releasing it for the heck of releasing it, sit back. Write a couple more. See if you can flesh out an entire album. And then do what most people do. I'm not saying this is the key to success, because I'm not a Grammy winner yet. But sit on a single, write an album, and then if you want a song to release in the summer, wait a couple months. Wait for that summer to come. Release the summer song as a single this summer. Release the next song as a single in the fall. Then keep releasing 3 or 4 singles. Then drop the album. Because that way you can build hype and then bring in a fan base. Me, I did it really, really slowly, which might not have been the smartest because I was still producing. In like 2017, I released a single with a B-side. 2018, I released an EP of 4 tracks, but then I realized the mixes weren't up to par, so I decided to study sound engineering a little bit and then finish my album, released it in March. But you want to have a slow build-up. And if you're just going to release singles and you want something out in the summer, but it's already, like March and you're still not done production, it's not a problem if you don't get it out this summer. You want a summer song to be out in the summer, get it out next summer.
Yeah.
As long as you find a way to hit that target audience during that time of the year that you want, it doesn't matter if it's this year, 5 years down the road. If your music is good and it's what they want to hear, they'll listen to it.
Man, that's good, because if you just make a whole list of all the biggest names in the music industry right now, like who's the hottest right now, and that could be an argument, but I'm just saying, if you just think of some of the top ones that is just, number one, they're doing numbers, and number two, they're just being recognized with awards and whatnot. If you just look at the work ethic, man, like at the end of the day, what will you say makes a artist, just a general statement, what will you say makes an artist one worth remembering?
There are a lot of ways I can answer this. One of them, it's the impact they have socially. Are they able to touch people in a way that helps them and make the world a better place? Are they able to bring people together and have them, sing in a chorus together or sing the song together and have a sense of unity and companionship? But also, how much has the artist persevered? How many times have they been told no, but they still kept going, right? There are a lot of different aspects that will make an artist great and worth remembering, but I think it's the social impact and their passion and purpose that stand out.
Yeah, that's good. Man, when your book coming out? I'm trying.
We'll see.
Once again, this is I'm Because Radio. You've been listening here, and we've been talking to Years Nomad. And it's about time to wrap up. I hate when that happens, but before we let you go, first of all, what would you like to tell to our audience? And also, second part, how can they stay connected with you on social media?
First and foremost, I'd like to thank all the listeners for taking some time out of their day to listen to me. And it's really humbling because, I'm no more than any of you. And I'd like everyone who's pursuing something to keep at it, keep their chin up no matter the hardships, and keep driving forward. If you want to keep in touch, you can follow me on Instagram at Nouhi's Nomad. That's NouhisNomad. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Nouhi's Nomad. You can find our kind of link tree at solo.to, which is solo.to/Nouhi's Nomad. Again, NouhisNomad. And you can also find us at nouhisnomad.com, but that redirects to our Trading Records page. And Facebook and Twitter handles are the same.
That's awesome, man. Well, once again, true honor having Nouhi's Nomad right here on I Am Refocused Radio. And if you want to hear this show, I don't know where you found it, but wherever you found it, you go to our website, IamRefocusedRadio.com. And man, like we say on every single show, man, no matter what happens, keep God first, stay focused, and peace.